In this video, we are going to build in City Skylines, a city that is half Israel, half Iran. We're going to build some beautiful Iranian squares. We will recreate the Israeli Congress building using only Iranian flags. We will return to glory the ancient capital of the Persian Empire, Persepolis. We're going to cut both the Azadi and Azrieli Towers in half, and this is just the beginning, because this is one of the most stuck builds I ever made, and I only made two, and it has so much going on. But first, Iran and Israel is a highly explosive topic, and you don't just walk into it without an explanation, especially not in the niche of city building. So allow me to explain. There are some really bad things going on right now in the world. One of them is the war in the Middle East. Following the news is depressing, and I want to do something optimistic to build a city for peace. We will start with Israel and Iran as an experiment and see how it goes. What we are going to do is simply enjoy building a city inspired by both countries, put politics and wars aside, and focus on hope, tolerance, and coexistence. And without further ado, let's build a city for peace. Starting with an Israel symbol, let's build the Knesset using only Iranian flags. The Knesset is the symbol of the Israeli democracy. It's the seat of the parliament. Think of the Capitol building in the US. The architecture style is brutalist, as was fashionable during those years. The design meant to convey imposing strength, and I think it does the job well. The location also helps, as it sits on the higher part of the mountain. What we do here is take a building from Germany that has roughly similar shape to the Knesset building and use it as base model, and then cover it with Iranian flags. Now, since we are in the City of Peace rather than on Israel or Iran, we can be proud of our tolerance, humanity, and moral sophistication. So we place rainbow flags all over the thing, just as if we were purifying it with holy water. Next thing we're gonna build is a big symbol from Iran. It's the greatest city to ever exist in its own time. And I'm not talking about Rome or Detroit, I'm talking about Persepolis. And here comes an important note that Persia and Iran are actually the same country, as Iran used to be called Persia up until the year 1935. The history of Persia goes back thousands of years, back to the ancient Persian Empire that ruled most of the Middle East and gave the ancient Greeks trouble, until one dude called Alexander the Great defeated them and burned Persepolis to the ground in the year 330 BC. It has remained in ruins up until the 20th century, when archaeologists began digging up and uncovering the ancient city. And when looking at visual reconstructions, it truly looks like an amazing city with some of the most ridiculous ornaments of the ancient world, which really left me in awe and speechless for days, thinking just how low the budget for social welfare must have been. I think the story of Persepolis tells us a humbling story about the fleeting nature of time and the futility of human effort, as the 19th century poet Percy Shelley once put it into words. Allow me to quote a few lines of poetry. "My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, you mighty, and despair. Nothing beside remains round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare. The lone and level sands stretch far away." Percy was wrong though, because in the City of Peace, Persepolis has been revived to its fullest formal glory, and now it serves as the central bus station of the city, used mostly by Israeli bus brand. But if all this talking about sands and ancient people has left you weary, sunstruck, and in need of change in pace, why won't you come and visit some authentic Iranian market, a bazaar? Here you can buy true Persian carpets, some saffron, gaz, sohan, or baklava, rose water, handmade works, fashionable attar, and jewelry. And the best part is, all of it is right under the Israeli army headquarters. So, during the learning I did for this video, I discovered the city of Isfahan. It has some of the most amazing historical architecture, which makes you understand why the 19th century Romanticans became obsessed with the Orient. This is the Orient. From palaces to bridges to mosques, the city looks straight out of a fairy tale. So it is believed that Isfahan area has been populated practically since the last ice age. It was a prospering city during the time of Cyrus the Great, which was the great leader of the ancient Persian Empire. Fast forward to the 7th century AD, it was captured by the Arabs. It has been ruled by quite a few dynasties ever since. In the 16th and 17th century, it was the Safavid Empire, during which the city had its golden age. It was the capital of that empire, and much of the great historic architecture we see today was built during that time. Specifically, the Naqsh Jahan Square, today a UNESCO site. It was built by the Safavids to serve as the royal square. It was a bustling place with tents of tradesmen, entertainers, and actors. It's said they handed free food for the poor. The city was said to be a cosmopolitan in the sense that it had populations of people from multiple nations, including Chinese, Indians, Turks, Georgians, and Armenians, and then many Europeans. A Portuguese ambassador to the city from the 17th century said that the people of Isfahan are very open in their dealings with foreigners, having to deal every day with people of several other nations. And I think all of this comes together here in the Isfahan Square in Peace City. The square is a center for multiculturalism and tolerance, and as an example of that, it even has an Israeli F-16 sunk into its main fountain. And now we get to the big one. At least if we follow the equation of tallest equals greatest, which is a decent rule of thumb, all things considered. We're going to take the two prominent modern symbols of both Tel Aviv and Tehran, the Azadi Towers in Tehran and the Azrieli Towers in Tel Aviv, and then we are going to cut each of them in half and connect it together to create the Azadzrieli Towers. Azadzrieli. If you can pronounce it correctly, you are probably a wizard. And now comes the fun part and the hard part. We take all the pieces that we have built and make them into a city. We're going to have a central axis going through the city. We call it the axis of resistance. I orient the Isfahan Square and the Azadzrieli Towers to sit on this axis, and then locate both the Israeli capital and Persepolis on opposing hills, drawing a small river through the center. And on the Israeli side, we will build a suburb shaped like the peace symbol. And to further strengthen the peace and love we have in our city, the people built above it an iron dome. From this point on, I spent quite a few hours piecing the city together and creating many filler areas between the different parts. But after a few tries and much effort, I think it came looking really nice. So I wanted to take you to a quick tour in the final state of the city. First, we may begin with the Isfahan Square, looking north towards the skyline. As you can see, I added quite a few things, more neighborhoods and those mountains in the distance, mimicking the mountains north of Tehran, which look epic in pictures of that city, so we have to have similar mountains in this city too. Going through the middle of the city is this little stream with the highway on both sides. This is a reference to the Ayalon Highway, the main artery of Tel Aviv, and a very iconic highway for the Israelis. Straight ahead of us, we can see the Tehran TV Tower, the Milad Tower. At the right bank of the river, we have Iranian neighborhoods, and more to the right, on top of the hill, we can see Persepolis. We have the iron domes here, the Israeli suburbs. On this side of the river, we have those Iranian neighborhoods. here in the Isfahan quarter, and we can also see the line that's dividing the city between east and west. On top of the hill we have Persepolis. Today it's a bus hub. The people of the City of Peace can relax between the ancient columns, and the bonus part is that the public transport is really convenient. On the opposing side, we have the Knesset building made from Iranian flags, augmented by rainbow flags, flanked by palm and cypress and flowers and watchtowers and a parking lot, providing unparalleled panorama of the city. And of course, one of my favorites, from the high-tech downtown of Tel Aviv, right under the Israeli military headquarters, you can dive into this ancient Iranian bazaar and come out into the historic Sorona colony built by the German Templars in the late 19th century in the sands. Today, it serves as a lively tourist destination, crowded with bars and restaurants. We have a Shalom Road, a main street in Tel Aviv, a hallmark for parades and protests, exemplifying a functioning democracy with free speech and a pluralism of opinions. And this leads to the Azadzrieli complex, half Iran, half Israel, the center of the city. I'm really pleased with how this one came out. Using the district tool, we can see how the city is a union of districts, each one with its own theme or idea, and looking at it we can see there is so much in it already, yet there's room for so much more. So yeah, I'm curious to see your reactions. I know I'm tackling difficult topics here, echoing a very serious war, and I really hope I managed to do it in a way that is lighthearted and optimistic. And as I'm in the final stages of producing this video, I see reports that a ceasefire is going to take place in a few hours. So I hope while you guys are watching this, we are already in that ceasefire, and let's hope it paves the way for a more stable and long-lasting peace. Once again, don't be afraid to write your thoughts in the comment section and let me know if you'd like to see more of this city. Thanks for watching, and may peace be upon us all.